Good day, it's Thursday, it's SportsDaz.ie. That means it's time for a weekly look at all things football here on SportsDaz Football. I'm Darren Kelly, and coming up later on, Joanne Doonan will be with us to look ahead to round 4 of the AFL Womens Series. We've certainly been enjoying the fair so far, and if you haven't been watching it, and I know the early mornings can be difficult, don't forget that coverage is on TG Car as well, and there'll be coverage online during the day, some cracking contests. Before we run through the news of this week, I just want to thank everybody who's been so supportive of our competition running this week to pick the SportsDaz Football Team of the Year. It's been great feedback so far. Of course, it continues right up until tomorrow, Friday. So make sure, if you haven't gotten involved already, to check on your own players or whoever you liked in general, whether they're from your own county or not, and get behind them. Today, Thursday, currently taking place are the semi-finals in the goalkeeper, midfielder and forwards competitions. We're down to the final in the defenders, and all finals across goalkeeper, defence, midfield and attack will take place on Friday. So let's start by going through the news of the week, and just in case you missed it last week, of course on Saturday the 27th of February we're going to have the TG Car All-Stars, the official teams. There'll be a team for senior, a team for an intermediate and a team for a junior. We've no nominees this year, but we do have the nominations for Player of the Year across the 3 categories, and we'll go through those for you now. In senior, it's Dublin duo Sinéad Goldrick and Carla Rowe, and they're going to be up against Armagh's Amy Mackin. Intermediate, it's Emma Duggan and Vicky Wall, both from Meath, Fiona Claffey representing Westmeath. And in junior, our own Joanne Doonan and Emer Smith for Fermanagh, and Maeve Deany from Wicklow. 3 of those 9 players will be named Player of the Year. There's also 8 goals up for nomination. Check out the ladies' football social media pages now to get further details on those, and you can vote on them. So 8 goals for Goal of the Year, Cool Navrina. So make sure you vote for your favourite of those, some cracking goals in that. We have to give our compliments to BBDO Dublin and Little Ireland and the LGFA for their new ad out and their new advertising campaign, Level the Playing Fields. It's a brilliant ad, definitely well worth watching, and of course it's very, very hard to believe that even the changes in 5 years, and people will talk about what happened last December in the All-Ireland football semi-final between Cork and Galway, and they'll be 100% right to talk about that, and we've talked about that plenty here, but it was an exception to the rule on this occasion. But that being said too, it was one exception too many, and no doubt work is going on there to make sure it doesn't happen again. But check out the campaign, it's absolutely brilliant, and hopefully we can continue to see ladies football grow in this country and around the world over the next 5 years. Congratulations to all the LGFA Volunteers of the Year. They had their ceremony last Friday night, the 12th of February. Check out the Ladies Football Facebook page if you want to watch that. 24 participants have been announced for the Learn to Lead female programme, so the best of luck to everyone there. That's, I think there's 6 administrators, 6 coaches, 6 officials and 6 in PR media, and it's again another project there to pass on knowledge and for people to pass on and help make things grow. As we've often stated, there's plenty of fundraisers going on. It's important that you get behind some of these, especially your own county's one, with the year that we're in it, and look like 2021 is not going to be much different to 2020, where fundraising is very, very limited. Roscommon LGFA are doing 100k's for Roscommon LGFA, looking to raise 10,000. Fundraiser that started on Sunday, Valentine's Day, running up to St. Patrick's Day. People out there to walk 100 kilometres, and they've already 4,000 raised, but they're aiming to get to 10, and hopefully you can get them there. Check out the Roscommon LGFA social media pages for more details. One bit of news I was reading about this week, and warms my heart to hear this. Kilkenny ladies football are on the way back, and it's brilliant news to hear. Like, we all know Kilkenny is a traditional hurling camogie county. Indeed, they're the current All-Ireland camogie champions, but football has often suffered in the county, and it's not going to just turn around and all of a sudden be great, but getting back participating is the first step, and it'll probably be 2022 before that happens, but at least the ball is, forgive the pun, the ball is moving now, and I wish everybody in Kilkenny ladies football the very, very best of luck, and any help we can give here in SportsDaz, we certainly will. Of course, I echo those same sentiments for the work being done up in Mayo, Camogie as well, and other counties, but delighted to hear that. Longford have confirmed their management teams for 2021. We already knew Brian Noonan from Ostrom is the senior manager. Alan Mullen from Westmeath has taken over the minor team in his neighbouring county, and they've also joint managers at under 16 and under 14. So the best luck to everyone in Longford in 2021. The Rachel Kenneally Bursary Award winners have been announced. Of course, Rachel, who we all miss, great talented Tipperary footballer, passed away at the young age of 26, but her memory and legacy lives on. And well done to Mary O'Connell from Kerry, Sophie Hennessy from Limerick, Fiona Keating from Cork, Michaela Glynn from Clare, Kate Hickey from Waterford, and Lucy Spillane from Tipperary. There's one winner from each of the 6 Munster counties win that award. I think it's done in conjunction with LIT, and well done to everyone there. A couple of interviews to look out for if you haven't seen them already. Trey Scott has been interviewed by Sky Sports Grania McElwan. I know if you check the Monaghan LGFA pages, you'll find that. In the Southern Star this week, Kieran McCarthy, who does great work promoting and reporting on ladies football, he has a great feature piece on Cork's Orla Finn, and a great read of that. Of course, Kieran as well was the work he has put in. He was the local journalist of the year in 2019 for ladies football, and delighted to say he was my successor because I was the 2018 winner. And of course, again, well done to Ian Cooney from Roscommon, who won the 2020 award. So some great journalists out there doing great work promoting ladies football. Also, while I'm promoting interviews elsewhere, don't forget the Fair Green this week here on SportsDaz is with Donegal legend Geraldine McLaughlin. A great chat I had with Geraldine, and you can hear about her career, how it was unlikely she was going to be a footballer at the start, and then ended up being one of the most devastating attackers in the history of the game. Captained her club to an All-Ireland title, still full of belief, and rightfully so, that Donegal can reach the promised land. And she also names her Fantastic Four. So if you haven't checked that out already, check that out. Geraldine McLaughlin from Donegal on this week's The Fair Green. And finally, a campaign I want to tell you about from Inspiring You. Hashtag I Love My Boots, because our own Rena Buckley getting behind this as well. So check that out as well. I think it's encouraging young players to write about why they love playing Gaelic football. And so definitely, if your parents, guardians, get your children into that as well. And finally, before we wrap up on this too, if you didn't catch the Camogie show this week, I don't know if it's your cup of tea, if you're more a football fan or not. We had the Laois Camogie manager, John Desmond, and we were kind of talking about best ways to help underage players and parents and guardians and underage coaches deal with the current situation. A lot goes on about our inter-county adult teams, who we hope will get the green light to start preparing to get back to action soon. But it's definitely well worth listening the Camogie podcast this week with John Desmond, and any ideas you have yourself, even in football, will be greatly appreciated. We're going to try and look at that over the next few weeks here on SportsDaz. So that's our news of the week. It's time to get on with our interview. Of course, all the action we're watching at the moment is down in Australia, and 3 rounds have been played in the AFL Womens Series. We're looking forward to round 4, some tasty games, and we'll be featuring the North Melbourne Kangaroos against Collingwood and Greater Western Sydney Giants against the West Coast Eagles. So with that being said, coming up after the break, we're joined by a Junior Football Player of the Year nominee and Fermanagh All-Ireland winner Joanne Doonan, who played with Carlton last year, and we'll be looking ahead to the weekend's action in Australia.
I like listening to SportsDaz because I like to listen to ladies football and ladies camogie.
Now I'm delighted to be joined by Joanne Doonan for our weekly slot as we look ahead to round 4 already, would you believe, of the AFL Women's Series. But of course, before that, Joanne, we'd already recorded the show last week. We heard the news, nominated for Junior Footballer of the Year. No doubt you're delighted.
Oh God, yeah, it was nice. Yeah, I suppose it's nice to get a bit of recognition, I suppose, as an individual, even though it's a team sport. But kind of surprised, to be honest. I just seen my phone kind of lighting up when a few people text me, so I was like, Jesus, what is this? But no, obviously it's nice to be nominated, and it's I suppose a privilege too, like for only 3 girls nominated. But no, hopefully someone from Fermanagh wins it between me and Emer, like. So no, it's a nice gesture. Yeah.
Well, we can tell you here, not just because you join us every week, we weren't one bit surprised. You were in the conversations that we had with Niamh Kendlin and with Rena Buckley before Christmas, and Emer, of course, as well. Great to see her nomination too, as well as Maeve Deany. Yeah. Pretty much now, I don't want to be jinxing you, but pretty much the full forward line has been picked for this team.
I know. It is. It would be a pretty good full forward line. I'm not going to lie. Like, it would be good. Maeve's a fantastic player as well. Even remember her, we were actually out in San Francisco playing for Fog City Harps, and Maeve was out playing with us as well. Like, so she's a brilliant player, and obviously not the one that you want to come up against, like, but no, fantastic. It's good to see her getting recognition as well.
Now, I know that we probably, and obviously don't tell me things you can't tell me, but did you get like personally contacted at the start, and then is there a procedure now for afterwards, or will you just be sitting and waiting until the 27th and find out like everybody else who wins and who's on teams?
I'm actually not too sure. No, all I seen was it on social media. So I haven't.
Oh, you haven't been contacted at all?
Unless I need to. No. So maybe I need to check my spam. I'm not too sure if that is a process. It doesn't come around too often for me, to be honest. But I must check. But at the minute, I think it's just a matter of waiting and seeing like everybody else. Maybe you might get a heads up, maybe to make sure you're tuning in. Maybe if you're going to win. But no, haven't had any word bar anybody else saying it on social media. Yeah.
Well, we will wish you the very, very best of luck. Our fingers are crossed here for you, Joanne. And as you can guess, if you do get the nod as Player of the Year, we'll be doing a double show here in 2 weeks' time.
Thanks. Cheers, Darren.
Let's go to AFL again. And you know what? I don't actually forgot to write down the results here in front of me, but we'll go through them in a moment. An exciting weekend, and certainly one match lived up to its heavy billing.
Yes, definitely. I think the match you're talking about is the Melbourne versus North Melbourne. Actually, it was a brilliant game, to be fair, to be live streamed on TG Cahir for everybody at home to watch it, but just fantastic seeing that everybody, I suppose, even what I wrote down, for Melbourne to kind of start really slow, and, for North Melbourne to kind of get on the board early enough, and you'd kind of be thinking, God, if it keeps going like this, North will walk away with it, but Melbourne then to keep hitting back to go 27 points, you'd think, God, this is going to be a hammering. And then for the last, I think it was just coming into the third quarter and maybe into the start of the fourth, that North pulled it back to 2 points. Like, it was such a good game to watch. Like, and then I suppose if you just seen, and probably the score, like the last kick of the game was a goal for Melbourne, like with a mark. So it probably deterred away from how kind of close it was the game, like, but Jesus, it was brilliant to watch, I have to say. And even talking to the girls during the week, like, it just seemed the standard even from last year, like how it's improved so much, and they're just kind of reading the game a lot more, and they're like playing a lot better together, like, so it was a brilliant game, I have to say.
It was absolutely like, we were talking here last week about getting up early for the games, and I suppose in Ireland 8:10 in the morning was a perfect time, but it just kept giving, and it wasn't just a high scoring, the rivalry between the two teams. Of course, the Irish influence was massive in it as well. Like Sinéad Goldrick, was storming for Melbourne as they build up what looked like a simple victory at that stage, and then Aileen Gilroy leads the charge back, and bouncing the ball here or there, and it could have been the Kangaroos. Yeah, oh, definitely. Like, Jesus, I think that's one thing. And in fairness, you just said previously about the Irish girls getting, I suppose, not much recognition from the commentary. I think they were kind of even impressed with goalies, kind of just her, like, just she would literally put her head where you wouldn't put your foot, like, and she just charges out, and it's as soon as she gets tackled, she gets up straight away and nearly puts on another tackle while the other person's still lying on the ground, like, which I have to say, like, she played fantastic, and it was great to watch. And likewise with Aileen, like, again, I remember we played a practice match last year, and I was marking Aileen for a few minutes, like, Aileen, go away, please, don't come near me. Like, she's not the person you want to get tackled by, and I think she's shown that at the weekend. Like, she was similar to goalie, just breaking out, reading the game really well, catching it, attacking, and that kind of
I suppose you did again, like, off the shoulder runs kind of was fantastic if they were used a wee bit more in AFLW, but brilliant representation. And even Niamh McAvoy for the first game in, she had really good influence, setting up a few goal chances and even just delivering really well. Just wee small things that you kind of mightn't even notice too much, but really, really good game for her for me back in as well.
It was brilliant to see Niamh McAvoy out there too, especially when we knew we were losing Ailish Considine and Niamh Kelly for the week. We might as well go straight away and just officially ratify this. Am I safe in saying, Joanne, that this was the game of the week?
Yeah, I think definitely for me it was definitely a standout. There was a few other good games, like even Collingwood and Richmond was a lot closer than I kind of realised. And even the Carlton and St Kilda game was a lot not as close as I thought it was going to be. So it was interesting, some of the games that was on display, but definitely I think the game of the week was Melbourne versus North Melbourne.
Well, as you mentioned that as well, like Fremantle beating Adelaide as well was a massive result. We know Fremantle's form will be good, and West Coast we'll be talking about in a bit. Like, if they could just get a few goals in that first quarter, who knows what they would have done. But Brisbane showed their class afterwards as well. To see the result, you think it was an easy day, but it was the second half before Brisbane really put that to bed.
Yeah, 100%. Like, even talking Ash, that they were kind of coming in thinking that, okay, they're not going too bad, but like I said, it's them chances that they didn't capitalise on that kind of came back to bite them. And again, I suppose the difference in Brisbane, whenever they did like just kind of build up momentum from that, and they were very hard to stop. But again, super performance from Ash, Mac and Grace, like, to keep kind of ploughing on. And I think hopefully this week could be a different story for them, like, coming in. But I think they're definitely kind of virgin and probably, I suppose, getting sick of that losing streak, that they're due a win sometime soon, I think.
They certainly are a bit unlucky as well, and we'll be focusing on their game as well against Sydney in the moment. Melbourne and the Kangaroos' match of the week. What was your moment of last weekend?
I actually seen that it was just a lovely moment. I think it was one of the Richmond games, in the Richmond Collingwood game. Her name's Gabby Seymour, but I don't know if you've seen it. She caught the mark just inside the 50, and the smile on her face, she literally celebrated whenever she caught the mark. I think she surprised herself that she caught it, and it was just so funny to watch. And even the commentators, were kind of laughing that, you never really see someone celebrate catching the mark so much, but it was just a really kind of just nice, humbling moment that she just caught it and was so shocked and so happy, and then got a chance at goal. Like, so I just thought it was a really lovely moment of the week. Yeah,
I'm going to have a look for that afterwards as well. We have the highlights of all the games and the results on our website, but we'll have a look and see if Gabby's is there. If not, we'll get it for our social media plug around that. I'd definitely like to see that one myself. Joanne, as you said, even the Australian commentators were acknowledging this. The Irish are having a real impact down there. 9 players playing this weekend, and of course the 2 that weren't, we knew about, and 2 were injured, and we're still waiting for Lauren. Who is your Irish player of the week?
Mine, actually, I had to say, just from performance, just genuine team performance and watching it, I have to say Sinéad Goldrick. I just thought she's fantastic, and she has been for the last few games and even last year. Just her kind of attitude and her tenacity, just running forward. It's just kind of, I don't know, you kind of feel a sense of pride watching the Irish out there, like, and I think she does that really well every week, and I just thought she definitely deserves a bit of recognition for it.
Sinéad Goldrick was absolutely tremendous over the week. Would you believe it? I'm not going to agree with you, but I'm going to explain my thought process here, because I've actually changed my mind 4 times over the week. Like, the way Melbourne kicked into that game, Goldie was like, I couldn't see a performance beating herself. And then Aileen Gilroy quietly started really getting into it in the second half, and I was torn in between both Goldie and Aileen. Aisling Sheridan, 2 goals again for the second time in 3 games. Probably very, very underrated, even though they're really starting to notice her down in Australia for her goal scoring ability. But the player I've picked, you've picked her 1 week already. I haven't picked her yet, but just keep continuing to set the bar high despite her team still not getting the right side of results. She got a goal early on in the match, came close to another one as well. 17 disposals, I think. She was tremendous throughout. So for me, I'm going for Aisling McCarthy as my pick this week. But as I was torn between the 4 names I just mentioned.
I know, definitely. There's every week it's very tough to pick, like, and it's very hard to narrow it down to just one girl. But definitely who you all mentioned, like Jesus Ashing, and like you said, every week for coming into a team new, like she seems to be one of the main leaders in the group as well, and you can see that clearly, but by her actions more so than anything else. She really does take the game by the scruff of the neck every game, and I think it kind of, you can see it kind of empower and lift the girls a bit. But I think, yeah, definitely if there's a few more of her on the team, they wouldn't be doing too bad now. And again, like I said, Ash Sheridan, some of her runs and her reading of the balls, even like small things like the first goal that came off that, maybe people might have said, the catch didn't come off, but the fact she still ran after it, still got it and kicked it and straight away into a goal. It's just her brilliant kind of composure, and she just seems to be settling in so well. And like you said, I think she is definitely underrated over there. But it's just brilliant. And likewise, Aileen, again, like I said, she's just a fantastic athlete, and I think she has been coming into her own. She was in the top 5 of best and fairest last year. And I think, like you said, her confidence and all is just kind of building each game, and she's definitely somebody to be reckoned with this coming season.
Certainly do, and we're going to be talking about Aileen in a while too. But see, when we're talking about Ashing there, it's the last game of the 7 this weekend as we look ahead. One of our 2 featured games. We're obviously West Coast fans here, but understandable with the Irish contingent that are there. They're taking on Greater Western Sydney Giants on a Sunday, 6:10 in the morning Irish time. Now, this is the first week in a few weeks where the original fixtures are holding so far, and let's hope they do hold as well, because there's plenty of stories going on. We'll talk about 1 or 2 of them in a moment. Great, the Giants are finally off the mark. Cora again well involved in their victory last weekend. West Coast, as we've talked about, they're much better than the scorelines will suggest against Brisbane or against Fremantle too. West Coast, without a shadow of a doubt, can't afford to lose another game. I think you can get away with 3 losses. That's it. This is a real cup final feel and a great way to finish off the week on Sunday.
Yeah, I definitely think it'll be definitely an interesting game. And like you said, I think Giants would be happy out coming after a win last weekend, and they'll just be kind of, I suppose, trying to maintain that momentum and kind of keep bringing it into the week that they're not going to be wanting to kind of let it off now. And but likewise, like you said, West Coast Eagles is kind of coming up to the verge of, this is a must-win game for them. They have to get some points on the board, and I definitely, like you said, I don't think the scorelines have did West Coast any favours. They're a lot better team than kind of, I suppose, are being portrayed, and hopefully something does click. I think you do learn a lot quicker from a loss, from your mistakes. But again, hopefully 4th round might be the round that they do get a win. I think it'll be a very good game, but I don't know. I think I am kind of going towards West Coast to tip this one, I think, this week.
I was going to ask you this question, and especially now at that point, because we've talked an awful lot about West Coast over the last few weeks, and not just in regards to the Irish players. And there's no doubting the genius that is Cora Staunton, but I suppose, and Sydney fans won't like me saying this, is how good are Greater Western Sydney? Because they just haven't delivered a big result yet to catch the eye. Cora has been delivering, and a few other players have been delivering. I'm not questioning that, but they won last week. They were expected to win that, but I don't expect them to win games they're outsiders in.
Yeah, I kind of feel like they're kind of from the outside, and sometimes you kind of think they're, and maybe this is completely wrong, but nearly, I suppose, happy to be taking part. And nobody likes to say that. Obviously, you want to be kind of going out and winning every game that you can, but like you said, there is, when you see Cora and all up around midfield, and putting the pressure on, they have very good players, but it's just, I don't know, getting that drive and getting that click together. And I suppose, unfortunate, you would have liked to see how Breed Stack would have influenced it this year as well. But at the minute, like you said, they're just not kind of, I suppose, any game you go into, you don't have massive high hopes that they're definitely going to walk away with it. So it's kind of interesting to see. But I think West Coast, you kind of see that kind of hunger, and I know they're obviously only a new team, but you can see that they're really trying to get their name out there. But yeah, it's an interesting one.
Because as you even mentioned Breed as well, and she's obviously a massive loss for them too, but it's just they haven't, now look, they've got the win under their belt there, they're up and running, and they could take off from there, and who knows what they could do as well. But West Coast just seem to be unfortunate not to have a win so far. Well, I don't want to say Sydney are fortunate to have a win. They deserved their win last week, even if it was a low scoring contest as well, but they're under pressure too. They have 2 losses as well, and while we were saying 3 might be enough, of course we don't know how if the season could get shortened if COVID takes over again in any shape or form as well. So like this is a game they can't afford to lose either as well. And there's going to be a lot of pressure on them, especially being at home.
Yeah, definitely. I think both the teams, are kind of coming in. Obviously, you said Giants have won one, but they'll both be kind of looking, this is, I suppose, make or break, change the kind of attitude within the camp, you could imagine that a lot of girls might be dropping the heads a bit if, they get another loss under the belt. But like you said, it's such a short season. You don't know what way it can work like, but definitely the way the leaderboard's going at the minute, and with how Brisbane and all's competing, you need to be getting your points on the board, definitely.
Well, it's a game we're looking forward to. 6:10 Sunday morning Irish time. We'll be going through all the fixtures at the end of the show. Before, Joanne, we go on to the other game we're doing, I have two questions I want to ask you. One now is first, Auskick is returning to Sydney. I don't know how familiar it is. It's like their half-time games in Croke Park as well. Have you experienced that in your time down there at Carlton as well? And how important is it? And I suppose for the young children, how much excitement and atmosphere does it generate for AFL matches?
Well, obviously, any games that we've been at, you obviously go into change room half time, so you nearly miss the whole Auskicks that does go on. But it's fantastic. It's really, really good initiative. And it's similar, like you said, to the halftime games over here, that them young kids are going out as if they are playing for their team. It is just as important as day to them as it is the girls that are talking out for the AFLW. So brilliant just to kind of keep kids involved and keep them, I suppose that kind of sparks a fire inside them to kind of, when I grow up, I want to be playing here, So I think it's a really important aspect of the game. And another thing that I loved about Australia was after any of the games, everybody, the whole crowd was allowed to go and kick on the field. It was just it's enormous. So as soon as the game was over, you have your whole supporters, your families, just kicking about on the oval. And it was really bizarre, not bizarre, it was just so strange, because I don't know whether it's because of the good weather and we're kind of protective of wrecking the pitches over here, but I just thought it was really, really lovely to see, generally, you see father, daughters, sons, families, everybody out just kicking about on the oval afterwards. And it's just kind of really, I suppose, a family day out. You go watch the game, you take part then after, so I just thought they're very good at kind of keeping everybody involved. And I suppose if anyone knows any Australians, they do love their footy over there, so it's just a really nice touch.
Yeah, it is, and it's returning for that game between Sydney and West Coast on Sunday, the Auskick as well, and hopefully it's the first signs of us gently moving away from everything going on. Second question, I've been meaning to ask you this every week, and I keep forgetting, but it's written down here in front of me. The songs. They seem to be part of the show now. I can't turn off the app until I hear the winning team sing their song. Tell me about that. Is it obviously you're encouraged to do it? Is it just a tradition, or do you just do it, or because it's great crack?
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, every team has a song, and it's the same, obviously, for the men and women's. I think it's basically your history of your club, and if you listen to the lyrics, to be honest, I just could not grasp the Carlton song because it didn't make sense in my head, because I was like, what's that even mean? But it's just something that you definitely, the first game, I'm not gonna lie, I kind of forgot after the game, and I was like, oh my god, I haven't learned this, and I was trying to sit and mime it the whole way through, but which is probably really bad. It is lovely, at the start, and I think it's kind of Irish mentality, you kind of feel goofy or silly kind of doing it, you'd be like, what are we doing, but it actually really brings everybody together, and we've such pride in singing it, and if you're doing your debut, you go in the centre of the circle when everybody sings it, so it's really, really nice to kind of, I suppose, experience that. But yeah, I think, and I suppose you only sing it then if you win, so it's that kind of extra pride that you're singing it loud and proud because you've won that game. So I think it's a nice wee touch. It's definitely something to think, but I don't think you'll ever see it coming into the Gaelic now, I don't think.
No, I imagine it, right, because and anybody watching games in the AFL this weekend, keep an eye out for this if you haven't noticed it already. At the first quarter, half time and third quarter, you're hearing all the pop songs, the cool songs out there. But it's like when the two teams come out, it's like watching WWE wrestling. They have their own team song. We're being singing the microphone as well coming out, and it's brilliant. It generates the atmosphere. And then, as Joanne mentioned at the end, the team all get together to sing it, and the commentators and the TV coverage won't go away. They finish up by saying, let's go back to the winning team song, where, for example, last week it was Melbourne, the game we talked about earlier on, the Demons are singing away, or it could have been Carlton, or it could have been Fremantle, or whoever, like, and it adds a touch to it too. And even now myself, as I said already, I can't leave my following of it until I hear the winning team sing the song. It just feels empty without seeing it. Like,
yeah, it is. No, it's definitely a lovely touch now.
So the question is now, as we go to our other featured game, which is at 8:10 in the morning on Saturday Irish time, the Kangaroos against Collingwood. Who's going to be singing at the end of this? The Kangaroos have never lost 2 in a row. Collingwood have never won 4 in a row.
Yeah, I think this could be in competition for the game of the week next week. But I really think that North coming after that loss, you know, and especially such fine margins, and like you said, when they pulled it back from 27 points, you kind of think, Jesus, if they can do that, you know, they can try and push on. And I'd say they've probably a lot to learn from last week. And like you said, I suppose Collingwood's coming in off that momentum, you know, and I don't know, you'd like to think that well, especially coming in against North Melbourne, I don't think they're going to be anyway complacent. Like, you know, obviously they've had a good winning streak now, but it's just going to be a battle of two very good teams, and it'll be very interesting to see. But I can't see North Melbourne letting themselves, I suppose, lose another game, you know, so I really hard to tip this one, yeah.
Yeah, because my feeling on it too, remember we were talking last week and all the hype seemed to be about North Melbourne going into Melbourne, and no different as you know yourself, Joanne, when you played Wicklow in the group championship of the All-Ireland, that sometimes that loss, you can take more out of it. And North Melbourne came out with a lot of good green marks, despite the fact that they lost by 9 points to Melbourne, and it could be the kick they need to drive on here. Yeah,
100%. I think if anyone that kind of watched the game, a lot of, I suppose, Melbourne's kind of momentum and kind of even a lot of their scores that came from kind of silly North Melbourne mistake, you know, like a free kick or, you know, pushing the back or a 50-metre penalty. We things that, you know, North Melbourne would be kicking themselves, you know, thinking, Jesus, well, if we hadn't did that, you know, we wouldn't have been too far off. So you kind of be thinking, you know, if they have that wee bit better discipline this week and, you know, the work on, like, say, them wee tactics that you do learn, and I suppose you do focus on a lot more when you lose a game as opposed to when you win a game. Hopefully that is something that they're going to rectify, and I suppose just kind of settle in a wee bit more. Like sometimes that loss can be the kick you need to kind of drive you closer together. Like so, I definitely think they're not going to lay over and kind of take that loss I would take that loss very easy. So, but likewise, I think Collingwood are a very, very good team as well. Like, and they are going well for a reason. You know, they are playing really well. But like you said, you don't want to see them, I suppose, get that wee bit complacent and thinking that, you know, coming in each week that, you know, we did a lot well last week. But I also kind of thought that Richmond, I suppose, wouldn't have put it up to them as much. So maybe it's kind of hard to kind of tell how good they are, you know. But again, it's kind of hard to kind of judge these games until you see them, the other teams playing each other. So definitely a good game to watch out for this weekend.
Because even as you mentioned, there were Collingwood too. We thought last week to be playing, I can't remember, was it Brisbane they were meant to be playing before it was changed, but they showed their credentials against Carlton the first day out. But after the 3 wins, we know they're making progress. The results have shown that over the 3 seasons, and we'll probably leave this game with a real indicator, win or lose, of where Collingwood stand in the overall championship race.
Anyway, so it'll be very interesting now coming up against probably one of the top teams in it, and I know Collingwood also are. But like you said, these next few games, you'll probably be able to paint a better picture of kind of, you know, who stands where within the board, you know. So I definitely think it'll be a real good telling game. But again, I kind of just feel North might just come out of the blocks with flying, like, and they just kind of want to kind of put a marker down to the rest of the comp that, you know, that was just a one-off. Like, so I think at the minute my money would be in North Melbourne, but it'd be a good game either way, I'd say.
It'd be a game worth watching 8:10 Saturday morning, because as Joanne's there leaning towards Kangaroos just about, I think I'm getting the impression like you wouldn't be putting the heavy money on it, but if Collingwood were to win, it'd be a historic result. So Kangaroos to win against Collingwood, and West Coast against Sydney. Not just 5 other games we'll run through very, very quickly, and an awful lot at stake for an awful lot of teams. St Kilda against Geelong Cats. Again, Geelong can't afford to lose this.
Yeah, Geelong haven't had the best of run either this season at all. Like, again, I don't think St Kilda will have took the loss to Carlton last week too well. Like, they're a very good team, so I definitely think that they'll probably be a lot stronger than Geelong, well, the way they're playing at the minute. But like you said, Geelong have, I suppose this is a make or break. They have to win this game, so it'll be interesting, but I'd say my money will be on St Kilda for this one.
Kilda the nod there. A big one coming up you'll be interested on Saturday, Carlton against Richmond. Richmond never won a game. If they don't win a game, they're out of the race on the weekend. Yeah,
I think definitely. I don't know if you've seen all over the AFLW about the two Hoskin twins. Like, I suppose the first time they've been playing against each other, and they're playing a lot of pranks on each other. They live with each other as well. So it'll definitely be an interesting game. But likewise, I think Carlton are going good from last week. You know, starting to build their momentum up. You know, the losses had kind of shocked me at the start too, and I still looking at the girls of Lucy McAvoy and Gab Parn back, you know, so maybe there could be more girls coming back. I know Brooke Walker was injured, which are some very talented players that might have just settled the group, so I think they're kind of getting that momentum in. And likewise Richmond, although like you said, they came out fighting against Collingwood, so it'll be interesting. I don't think they're going to lie down and take the hit, so but again, I'd say I'd go with Carlton in this one.
I'm just going to ask you a second question in this one, if you don't mind, Joanne, because even with Carlton too, and I didn't say it at the start, but as you mentioned there too, like on another day they could have won those 2 games that they lost. There wasn't much in either game as well, and I'd been predicting them at the start of the year as well. Could they be the potential dark horses now gradually starting to get into this title race?
Oh God, yeah. Like, even knowing, like, you know, the manager is still the same manager from last year, and a lot of the leaders, the same leaders, and I know they're very kind of positive mindset, you know. As soon as the game's over, they're just looking at how they can learn from it. And like you said, them games could have went either way, and there were small margins in that. Like, there were wee mistakes and wee adjustments that they could make to their game that will help them kind of get over that line. And I think when you see the introduction of Lucy McAvoy, Gab, all them girls back, that, you know, you can see they're settling into the ways a wee bit better. And I think when Brooke Walker comes back as well, she's fantastic forward, that, you know, they'll be looking to kind of pull it back this year. And I definitely, like you said, I think they could come up without anybody kind of noticing that they're coming to fight for it. Like, so they're definitely one to watch. Yeah.
If they beat Richmond, to be 2-2. Poor Gold Coast, did they have any chance against Fremantle?
Oh, I don't know. Freo are playing very well as well, and Gold Coast again, another team that just haven't seemed to be getting the grips of it this year at all. But I don't know if they're gonna, pull anything miraculously out of the bag when Freo are playing really well, and they're a strong team, and they haven't lost since I think this the 11th round, but they haven't lost for 10 games since last year. So I'd say they'll want to maintain that streak. So I'd say Freo will probably pull this one out as well.
Fremantle with the nod there. Before last week, I would have put this down as a guaranteed top 2 match, but a lot of questions about Adelaide after their loss of the weekend against a Brisbane team that really, when they turn it on, they turn it on.
Yeah, like massive kind of like hammered basically, yeah, which was a big shock. Like, and to do that to the likes of Phillips, Chelsea, Randall too, like major kind of, I suppose, key figures in AFLW, like, and to have them playing and leading the team and they still couldn't kind of turn it around was a big shock. So again, but likewise, I'd say they're not the type of team that's just going to, you know, take that and can accept that they're not good enough. They're definitely going to come back fighting, like, so it's definitely going to be a hard one to judge. But I don't know with this one. Maybe go with Adelaide, kind of see. I'm not too sure. I know. It's hard to say.
A nice little shock one there, Joanne, just to keep it nice and tasty for us.
Yeah.
And finally, before I let you go, can the Bulldogs take advantage of a Melbourne hangover after the win last week?
Again, another tough one. Like, Bulldogs have actually been playing really, really good football. Like, and you know, it's brilliant. They really good, quick, free flowing football, and seem to like get on really well as a team. Like, they link up really well. But again, Melbourne's just very, very good team. Like, and you'd kind of be thinking, you know, it mightn't be a lot to it might take a lot to stop them now, like especially after last week's win. Like, so I'd say I'll go with Melbourne on this one this round.
I like listening to SportsDaz because he has famous celebrities and I get to listen to him. Darren Kelly.
And that was ex-Carlton player and current All-Ireland Junior Football Player of the Year nominee Joanne Doonan with us, previewing the AFL Womens Series Round 4. Before we wrap up, let's go through the fixtures for the week in the AFL. Starting tomorrow, these are all Irish times, of course, 8:10 in the morning, St Kilda against Geelong. We've 3 games on Saturday at 4:10am, Carlton against Richmond, 6:10am, Fremantle Dockers against the Gold Coast Suns, and at 8:10 the North Melbourne Kangaroos up against Collingwood. And then 3 more games on Sunday: Brisbane Lions against Adelaide Crows at 2:10 in the morning, the Western Bulldogs against the Melbourne Demons at 4:10, and finishing off the week, the Greater Western Sydney Giants against the West Coast Eagles. There is a total, I think, of 4 teams who have lost all 3 games so far. If any of them slip up this weekend, they can say goodbye and good luck. Your race is run for 2021. That's it here for SportsDaz Football. Just to mention again, SportsDaz Camogie with John Desmond, the Fair Green with Geraldine McLaughlin are available on sportsdaz.ie. Make sure you check that out. And next week here in the show, we'll be doing something special. Keep voting for your favourite players on our SportsDaz Football Team of the Year competition, because next week, as well as having Joanne to preview round 5 of the AFL, we will be talking to some of your winners in our competition this week, including naming the SportsDaz Football Player of the Year. So I hope you enjoyed that. We look forward to joining you then. With that being said, again, thanks to Joanne Doonan. I'm Darren Kelly, and this was SportsDaz Football.